as an artist, as a creative, and as a business owner, it is okay to charge what it's worth. I believe more than ever, the power of our stories and who we are, the power of our own brand story, that becomes our differentiator. And if we're not sharing that with the world, then we do seem like every other video company. The way that you think about story, the way that you think about the videos that you produce, all of those things make you so unique and give you a different perspective than anybody else. And that's so valuable. What is up, my friend, and welcome to this episode of the Grow Your Video Business podcast. My name is Ryan Coral. I am your host, and guess what? I got stood up today. I was supposed to do an interview with somebody, and they totally bailed on me. And so I'm sitting here knowing I've got a trip to Uganda coming up next month. I've got the Onward Summit coming up. The Onward Summit actually hasn't happened yet. So depending on when you're listening to this, you might be like, oh, that's already... No, it hasn't happened yet. So I've got a lot coming up, and I'm trying to fill these gaps. And I was like, oh, goodness, I'm not sure if I can. The show needs to go on while I'm in Uganda. That's the plan here. So anyway, I'm going to hang out with you, and I'm going to talk about the topic that I was going to talk about with our guest here, which our quote unquote guest, which is knowing your worth. Before we jump in, I do want to remind you that I've just released a new resource for AI, for your business related to filmmaking. These are tools that we're using in our production company to speed up the flow, and it's crazy how many tasks that we normally do or things that we just don't do because they take up too much time. And leveraging AI has been so stinking helpful. I just finished another blueprint for a client, and having some of the tools that I was using in AI sped up my workflow like insane. And I've added extra value for our clients. I've added things inside of our video blueprint that I've never been able to add before. I could have, but it would have taken me so much more time. And here I was like, man, I could go a couple of steps further, add more value, and this didn't take much more than like 5 more minutes of my time. So I've put together a list of resources. I polled all of the Studio Sherpa's people and said, hey, what other tools are you using? And I've put together this free resource. You can download it. It's got a bunch of links to apps, and I list my top apps, and then there's a whole bunch of other ones that other people have suggested that you can dive into. If you want this download, go to studiosherpas.com/AI. The AI stands for artificial intelligence. See how we just like squished it down to... Yeah, okay. studiosherpas.com/AI. It's my gift to you. Grab that document, that resource, and really consider, if you're not already using AI is about the time. That's terrible. Okay, let's jump in to this topic, and let's talk about knowing your worth. I just want to start with a story about my wife. It was 2018, and I was at the Kajabi conference. And at this conference, I'm meeting all these makers, creators, people that are building courses, that have podcasts. All these people are entrepreneurs. They're all business owners. And they had some incredible speakers. And I remember this one session, I was taking lots of notes. This woman, at one point, she's really kind of pressing women in the audience to own your gifts, your talents, and it's time to rise up. It's time to step up and do the thing that God created you to do and be who He created you to be. So stop hanging out in the shadows and step into all of your fullness. As I'm listening to her share all of these things, she's speaking to all these women business owners, and I thought of my wife, who, for the past, at this point, 14 years, 10 years, I can't remember. I can't do the math. I don't do public math. But ever since we had kids, she was a homemaker. She stayed at home and she raised our kids and took care of the house. And that was a dream that she had. And she was able to do it. But finding time for herself and doing things that she loved. I mean, she loves our family, right? But being able to find the time to do other things that really brought joy to her soul that weren't specific to, cleaning the house and making dinner and, just all of the 8 bazillion things that she would do. And I just had this moment of realization, which I'm so grateful for, because I can be aloof so much as a business owner, as a husband, as a friend. But this is one of those moments where I felt like I was paying attention, and I just felt like I needed to go home from that conference and tell her, hey, you've wanted to do art. You've dabbled in art a little bit here, there, but you've never made it a priority because it takes a lot of time, and it takes focus and for you to get in the zone. And so you just don't do it. But I believe that you need to do this. You need to pursue art, and whatever it takes. If that means one day during the week we're getting takeout so that you have, a bulk of time, or if we need to take on more chores that day so that you can just do art, we're doing it. And she was kind of like, oh no, are you serious? And I'm like, I'm totally serious. You have to do this. Because I really believed that if she was able to exercise that part of her, that she would become a better wife and a better mom and a better person, because that was just like, it was in her. And it wasn't, she did not have the opportunity to really exercise that. And oh my gosh, how frustrating as an artist, as a creative, to have all this built up, all this pent up, creative energy and desire to make stuff, and to just not have the opportunity to do it. So, there's probably a very small handful of things that I've done as a husband that have been really, really great. And this was one of those, because after that moment, we kind of built a little area for her in our basement, and I got her some nice soft lighting, so she had natural lights, and she started buying some, paint supplies, and she started painting. And she started coming alive in a way that I'd never seen before. And it was beautiful. It was amazing. And I just was so grateful that I had I don't even know, the fact that I was able to see this finally. I mean, it took me years to realize. I mean, it's embarrassing. It took me over a decade to realize, Coral, make sure she does this. It's going to be so good for you. It's going to be good for your family. So that feeling as a creator, to not create, or to not follow your passion, or as you're building your video business, to feel like, well, I can't charge what I should charge, because I feel guilty that I love this work so much. And those two don't really go together. And it's been a journey for me to realize that as an artist, as a creative, and as a business owner, it is okay to charge what it's worth. I feel like there's this idea that we sell out if we actually charge what it's worth. And so we don't do it. Or there's this fear that it's inside of us, that people won't pay it. And if they don't pay it, then we're actually not good. And those are lies. Those things aren't true. And my hope is that, as we're having this discussion, you're thinking through, am I valuing my gift? Because you're the only one. I mean, yes, there are other video business owners out there. There are other creatives out there that can do similar work. But your perspective is the only one in the world. That is unique. And the way that you show up, the way that you can show up for your clients, is completely different than anybody else in the entire world. And that is valuable. There are certain people that are going to align with you and with your art, with your business, the way that you run your business, that is going to resonate with them more so than your competitor down the street. And we also have to think through like, okay, well, how much work is there really? Because if I'm too unique or too niche down, if I only resonate with a very small audience, can I have a successful business? And my encouragement to you is to know that the opportunity, there are thousands or millions of businesses, and no matter where in the world you're at, there are people that need what you bring. There are people that are specialists in their own way in doing video. Yes, they could grab their iPhone and they could shoot something and have something for social. Do they have the time to do it? No. Do some people just think, well, I could do this on my own, so it's not worth that much to hire somebody else? Well, that's probably not your ideal client. Or the question for that person is like, okay, well, if you really believe that you can do it on your own, are you doing it? Because there's so many people out there that believe, well, I know what this is worth because I can do this, and they're not doing it. And how much more valuable would video be for a business if they actually were producing it, posting it, sharing it, getting out there for people to understand their brand and understand their differentiators? But it's just easier to write a blog post and do text, or it's just easier to write an update or to snap a quick photo and to share a thing. Like, and those things can be helpful, but man, I believe more than ever, the power of our stories and who we are, the power of our own brand story, like that becomes our differentiator. And if we're not sharing that with the world, then we do seem like every other video company, or we don't seem much different than, somebody that's carrying an iPhone around that can just shoot some video and have some content. The way that you think about story, the way that you think about the videos that you produce, the way that you think about the kind of clients that you want to work with, all of those things make you so unique and give you a different perspective than anybody else. And that's so valuable. And not everybody's going to see that value, but you need to start seeing that as valuable, because if you don't see it as valuable, then nobody else is going to. If you don't understand your worth, why would anybody else think that you're worth more than your competitor or as much as your competitor? So understanding your worth in all of this work. And one thing that could help you understand your worth is the next time you're on a client call, ask the client, if you don't do this project, whether it's, with us or somebody else, if you don't do this video project, how will that impact the bottom line of your business? And if they don't have an answer, then they don't value video. Or if their answer is like, yeah, I don't think that much, then okay, well, they're not. Why would they invest what this video is actually worth? But if your client says, man, if we did this video and it works, or the campaign that it's a part of works, like we could sell $500,000 worth of stuff, or easily $1 million this year. And then next year, maybe another $1 million, maybe $2 million. Okay, so you're telling me that without this video, you might lose out on $1 million or $2 million worth of work over the next couple of years. Wow, so this seems like a pretty important part of the puzzle for your sales and marketing. Yeah, that's why we want to do it. Cool. So, if I said that a video like this might cost you $50,000 to help you make $1 million, that's not a huge investment. That's only 5%. Oh, I don't know if we can afford $50,000. Well, maybe the video won't cost $50,000, but that's a pretty good return. $50,000 for $1 million. I mean, geez, I'm not going to charge you $50,000, if we're going to do X, Y, Z. So if you're helping a business make tons of money, know your value. If you don't know what this video's potential is, you need to ask better questions of your clients. What is the potential of this? Tell me, like, if everything goes right, what could happen when you have this video in hand? Or what would happen if you don't do this video? Is anything going to change? No, nothing's going to change. Okay. So you would not invest $50,000, but maybe what? If something is going to change, if something is going to change for the positive because of this video, tell me more about that. What could it save you, your team time? Yeah, how much time do you think it could save, like over the course of a month or a year or 2 years? Because, what do you think the shelf life for a video like this might be? 3 years? Okay, well, let's multiply that by 3 years. So if it could save your team 1,000 hours per year, 3,000 hours over the course of 3 years, 3,000 times your average employee, let's just say they're $50 an hour, $160,000 in saved time. To spend $10,000 or $15,000 on this video, that seems like it might be worth it. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you put it that way, but a lot of times people don't think through it that far along. They just know that they need to do video. They come to you, they put you down because you're like, well, yeah, our prices start at the end. Oh gosh, like, well, we don't have that. And then you're thinking like, oh gosh, okay, well, what do you have? Like, because we don't have to like do all the things, but then in the back of your mind, you're like, well, we do need to do all the things because it needs to look good. It needs to sound good. So I'm going to do all the things and not be able to charge as much as I want to be able to charge for it, or as much as I think that it might be worth. And, but I need the job. And so you talk yourself out of remembering your worth and what this is worth. So I hope that you can ask better questions in the discovery process, so that you can really get an understanding of like, where are people at? Where are the people at that you're talking to when it comes to value? And if you're consistently talking to people that don't value video, then you're marketing to the wrong people. And if if that's the case and you're like, well, maybe I am marketing to the right people or to the wrong people, I would ask you, okay, do you have a niche? Because if you don't have a niche, then it's really hard. You're just kind of, anybody that's coming at you, you're fielding calls, or you're going to generic like business type networking meetings and just kind of meeting everybody. But as soon as you have a niche, you can understand how those businesses are structured and potentially like how much money those businesses make and how much their marketing budgets might be, and what kind of videos might be most helpful, and what kind of videos you could create that would be most helpful, and how much do those on average cost you to make, so that you can really come up with some very concise numbers for people. Because as a business owner, I want to know, what's the potential ROI on this? And if you're dealing with all sorts of industries and all kinds of videos, it's really hard for me, to be able to talk about ROI. We can talk about it in a general sense, but when you can own a niche, you can step into a very specific kind of project for a very specific kind of audience. It becomes so much easier. I want you to do that. If you haven't dived into the world of niching, man, I really hope you think through what that could look like. And I have a workshop, brand new workshop that I've just uploaded, done, produced, that I dive into this idea of niching and how to do it maybe better than you currently are, and goes through 3 of the things that I've used over the past 19 years of me running my video business that have been very, very helpful. And as I've niched more recently in the past few months, this concept is awakening. I'm seeing the fruits of it, and conversations that I have with other successful video business owners, the common theme is they have a niche. So not sure where you're at, but if you would be interested in that, you can download that workshop. You can get access to it by going to studiosherpas.com/workshop. And I dive into that and some other areas that I think will be really, really helpful for you. So this is all brand new workshop that I just uploaded. And you can get access again at studiosherpas.com/workshop. I think that's all. If this was helpful, let me know. If you're watching this on the YouTubes or Facebook or somewhere, and you can comment, I would love to hear your comments. Even if you don't agree, I think that that would be interesting. And I would love to hear your perspective on why you don't agree. Agree. Why you don't disagree. So yeah, do that. And if you need anything, you can always email me. My email address is ryan@studiosherpas.com. And thank you for being here. I hope this was helpful. Just sitting here riffing, knowing that, where is this person? I'm not even going to say his name. I was about to say his name. Did he show up? I don't think so. I waited 5 minutes and I was like, okay, we're recording. Anyway, Onward Summit starts for me in 2 days. People are showing up in 2 days, and then the summit begins on Sunday. I'm very, very excited. And if you're going to be here, cool. I would have hugged you already, and it's over by the time you're listening to this episode. But anyway, appreciate you, my video business friends, and let's stay in touch. Let me know how I can serve you. Shoot me an email, shoot me a DM, something like that, and I will talk to you really soon. Bye for now.